everybody. Welcome. Fola here. And today on this live, this Moonday Live, it's late, isn't it? It's a little bit late in the day. We're going to be talking about the Egregore of Spiritual Communities, AI, communication, which I think all this stuff's super important right now because we're in this time of Mercury retrograde, where I don't know about you, but for me, when it comes to communication, I feel like my communication can get all like wonky. I get like way more quiet and I just feel like kind of going inside. We're gonna like talk a bit about these things, do a bit of like a clearing of any energetics that might be sort of like blocked or holding you stuck. So I got tuning forks here because God knows I told you all this year I'm like getting into sound, frequency, all that stuff at a completely new level. So I've been taking this class on planetary sound healing and it's been like so great. I invite you to check out Kelly Wolf. She's like a local healer, but she does teach this stuff online. You can look her up. I think I maybe shared some of her teachings and things before because she's also on YouTube. So we interviewed her once for one of our first like video. I don't know if this was the Living Magick podcast. It was kind of at the start when the Living Magick podcast, Occult Cast, was like all about interviewing and talking with like healers and all that. So she was someone that we worked with and it was a lot of fun to have a session with her then. But yeah, I just feel like there's so much we can explore here. So let's just start with like a clearing of the space and a clearing and asking for your guides, your ancestors, your beings of support, those archangels who guide and direct the four corners of our reality, all our animal helpers, all those angels that wish to just walk with us on this path and contribute, and any of those entities that want to contribute to us having a deeper understanding of this conversation today, this theme, and to really take this healing, this knowledge into our next evolution. So we just thank you for being present here. Call to all those people who need to be here to hear these words. Yes. So, hi, Andrew. Hi, Meredith. Hello, people. How's it going? Long time. So let me know if you've been picking up on any of the stuff that I'm talking about here today around the egregore. And really, I wanted to just say what kind of started this theme for me was a conversation I had with a friend, and we're hosting something coming up. And it was around the event post, like what the event post could say, the description of the event. And what I'm noticing with the space that I'm hosting things out of recently is that I'm pretty sure they use AI to make their life and job way easier. Let's be honest, AI can really help you to get ideas down into written form and like really get to the heart of the message, and to lay it out in a way that is very like readable and digestible for the eyes. So, you know, I use AI. I enjoy tapping into that world for particular tasks. But what I'm finding here, and this is kind of where the conversation led to, which some of you may not agree on, but it's like I started to realize in this conversation with this friend, like how much of our language, how much of the ideas that we believe as practitioners, as spiritual beings, are actually our words, are actually our truth. And we didn't get into an argument, but it was like bordering on the line of, I could tell my kind of calling out around this concept of, Well, is that really you and your words, or is that the AI's words and the things that you've believed to be true as how you should speak as a spiritual, conscious practitioner or member of a community? And I feel like this was just a beautiful mirror for me because I've been really sitting with this personally. As you know, I make content online, I post articles, I share written content, I create videos and share my things here. I host events and talk with people. And I'm like really recognizing how is it that I'm being my most authentic self and expressing my true self, my beliefs, my views or perspective about the reality or this world. My inner world and the outer world. And that what I'm touching on here is that many people are just using words that they hear because they think that's what they need to use. Or it's like this fucking regurgitation, like word salad regurgitation of ideas and beliefs that I personally can see how AI is contributing to that because if you, I don't know how many people you follow in the spiritual world or, this can be in any community, but I'm definitely involved in like spiritual communities in the online space, in the in-person space. And so there's certain language. I can like attribute this, maybe a different way to see it is if you've ever been involved in like the church or in different religious organizations, different denominations, you start to realize and recognize that there's certain language that people use, right? Let's pray for you, speaking in tongues, laying on of hands, repentance, forgiveness, sin, right? Things like these are terms that are used, words or language that we start to develop, the more that we become ingrained into the reality of that community. And the reason for that is because it helps us to all stay in sync with each other. So there's a benefit, there's a reason. But the issue to me is when it becomes so much a part of the person's existence that they literally are just like using words. And I feel like this is where AI kind of comes in. It's just bringing in words and ideas based on what other people are saying. And it's like we kind of like lock ourselves into that reality or lock ourselves into the really the limitation of what the words mean or what the language is. So it's just had me think of this idea of the egregore. And so an egregore is this concept in like Western esotericism of a non-physical entity or thought form that arises from the collective thoughts and emotions of a group of people, a distinct group of people or individuals. And so it's literally this like entity that becomes created intentionally or not. Like you can intentionally make an egregore, or you get 5, 10 people together, they start using the same language, the same concepts, and they start to form this entity, the egregore, that just like holds it's a container of all the beliefs, all the words, all the language. And so it comes from the Greek word Gregorio, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know Greek. To be awake or to watch, which is interesting. To be awake or to watch. So we literally like wake something up when we use certain language. And I guess the invitation before we're going to get into the sound stuff to like clear the thoughts, clear our communication, clear our perspective on how we need to communicate within ourselves, with each other, and so forth. I really just think it's important you have a sense of what the egregore is. And, there are communities that create these intentionally in order to benefit the group. And again, this isn't like there's a negative perspective of egregore. I think the important thing is where's the line between a spiritual community being created, and this egregore being like nurtured and tended to and built up by the ongoing use of our language and our thoughts or beliefs, into then crossing into the like negative side of cult or not free thinking for yourself, no autonomous thinking or independent thinking. And this is where I'm starting to notice the difference between certain spiritual, again, I'm going like this a lot because it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Between different people who claim spirituality or consciousness or whatever. And this might be something you just need to take from this conversation today and reflect into your own life. How are you using the words, first off? This is kind of what I was getting at. Like for me, I'm like, oh, I'm like saying certain things or noting I use a particular language all the time. And it's like, but is that really how I want to speak? Is that really like the truth of what I'm holding on to? Does that really define what I believe? Or is it something else? And in this time of AI, I really feel like it's even more important that we think for ourselves, speak for ourselves. And that was kind of where this, not conflict, but kind of like just noticing this like, oh, differencing of opinions was really starting to show up for me. And I just said, I don't want to use AI to write out my event posts or my updates or descriptions. Do I want to use AI to get ideas of what's important? Okay, but then I'm going to use those outline points, but in my own language, as the human that I am. And that I want it to be this energy of like my soul rippling into the world and touching other souls as it's needed or how it will be received by whomever it needs to be received. And you guys, like, I just want to tell you how fucking hilarious the AI is. Like, one thing I notice about AI, how I know it's AI, is the way it like writes, is it does things in threes. It like says something. I wonder if I could find the actual like conversation I had with the AI. I'm going to see if I can here. But it basically was like, okay, is this it? Let me see. No. Basically, it was like, hey, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and this. And it says it in like three kind of statements. You've probably seen this yourself. And so I told it, hey, like, can you stop talking like AI? I'm talking about control, eh? Like, stop telling me things like this, and this. Let me see if I can find an example in my like conversations here, because I just find it hilarious how that is how it speaks. And basically what I did is I just told it, please stop talking like that. Like, I don't want to see posts like that. And then its response was literally doing the thing I just told it not to do. Like, it said it like 1, 2, 3. Anyways, those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. It's really not that important. But I can like sense reading certain posts and certain ideas out there that almost are like so tuned in to this AI formulaic way, template, I guess, of communication. And now I'm starting to be like, whoa, like, is it because we in the spiritual community talked like that first, and then the AI is just taking it on and it's become like this automatic thing? Or have we taken on the AI's like perspective? And that's where, again, the egregore, the beliefs, the language, things like that can really have a negative effect, because we're no longer being our own individual selves. We're just using terms that we think the world wants to hear, or talking about things that, you know, like I've recently come to hear this concept of a safe space, which makes sense. You would call a space safe, like people would want that. But the idea that you can't really make a safe space, like who says it's safe? What's safe for you might not be safe for me, and vice versa. So what about supportive space? Things like this that we, you know, language, and this is not to police our language, like, no, but more what is true for you. What is true for you? Because no one else can tell you what that is. And this egregore, if we're not careful, the more communities come together and they think and talk in one particular language and view the world in one particular way, the more intense it gets, the more it grows. And then it's like we don't really have control anymore unless people are really conscious. Like, again, not all egregores are like bad, right? This is not about good or bad. It's just the like intensity of which they grow, the intensity of which they control the people in the group and vice versa. And it takes a really skilled approach to be conscious of these things. A conscious group, it can't just be one person in the group. It needs to be the whole, in my opinion. So we're going to do some things with the forks and like clear some of these communication blockages, issues, the things that maybe you're finding in your life. If you're, and we're in Mercury retrograde. So like, God knows that's fun. I know for me, like I said, I like get really like, in certain conversations, relationships, believe it or not, like I do kind of get like, oh, there's like a disconnect between this internal world and what I need to verbalize outside of myself. So let's clear some of these blockages. The way sound healing works, if you've never experienced it, is that these forks all hold a particular frequency, an energetic signature. These forks, primarily the ones I'm going to use today, are planetary forks, so they're tied to a different planet. And as you know, right, within the Kabbalistic system or astrology, however you might connect with the planets, these planets all have a tie to like an archetype of our consciousness, of our humanness. And so we can like use the forks in their particular frequency, their connection to the planet, to create the shifts inside our internal world, which then mirrors out into the external world. So however you want to receive this, you can just sit and listen. You may not even hear the forks because I don't know how they're going to carry on the sound, but we're going to use it to just kind of clear whatever needs to be cleared. Starting with the Om fork in Mercury. This is going to help with us clearing or removing any blocks to communication, whether it's written communication, spoken communication, electronic communication. Maybe you're someone that's trying to create different posts and put things out there, but they're just like not landing for people or your audience or whatever the case might be. Maybe you've been having conflict in a relationship and you just want to have some like walls removed so you can both hear each other or speak your needs or your desires. We're gonna just clear some of those, okay? So I'm just inviting you here to just notice your body, notice your breath, maybe taking a few deep breaths in and a few deep breaths out. Really allowing your shoulders to drop down as you just relax into the space. And inviting you to just connect through the roots of the soles of your feet down into the earth. Maybe to that earth star that's just beneath your feet a few inches, or even further down into the earth, whatever helps for you to anchor, sending those roots from your feet down into the earth to ground. So just removing those communication blocks here. And the throat chakra. Just breathing. And into the hip points, both hips, but primarily into that left hip. That sphere of Hod or Mercury. You might see that left hip in an orange color. And then linking that up to your throat. That you can have the knowledge of knowing what to say and when to say it. Just taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Now we're going to do some clearing of the fears. Just these fears of communicating that you might be experiencing. Because even though the walls might be gone, there might be something underlying. You're like, oh, I just don't want to. Like, it's scary for me to speak my truth or to use my own voice. That's why you use AI. That's why you're turning to someone else or technology speaking for you. Fuck that. Whatever these fears are around communication, we're going to clear those from the past lives, past experiences in this lifetime, in your blood lineage, anything that might be in your DNA from your ancestors, in your like galactic DNA or cosmic DNA. Clearing any of those fears from your childhood, all those times you were told to be quiet or that you were too loud. Anytime that you thought it wasn't safe for you to use your voice or to sing or to communicate, express yourself, your emotions. Ooh, the fears of expressing your emotions or communicating them. Let's clear that on a cellular level. Clearing them all the way back through your past. Allowing yourself to just see the fears, the shadow of communication, to have a little bit of courage here to embrace it. So any moments now in your present time, we're just clearing these fears, kind of lightening the load. That powerful planet of Pluto. Because now we're going to step into really being able to connect to the communication of truth and to speak your truth boldly and in like alignment with your wholeness. So with Uranus and Mercury, we call to that bold communication. Just breathing that in. Really just seeing that like middle pillar. So from the feet, that earth star, those roots going from your feet all the way up through your pelvis, all the way up through your belly and into your heart, through your throat, up into your crown. This middle pillar of light, allowing you to just be this like pure anchor of bold communication. Breathing into the center of your heart. Oh, yeah. Breathing into the center of your heart. Just noticing how the heart and your throat are connected. That place of communication between those two. Linking that true communication between your heart and your throat. And you can tone here if you would like. Whatever noise or note or sound wants to come out through, if it's humming, if it's vibrating it. Yeah. Just noticing what you notice. Just breathing as the energy just moves through your body. Profound healing through your entire energetic system. Through your physical body, all the way to your cells and DNA. Hirayishtanai sundaron dikaini kundoroima sunni. Through your auric field, energy fields, this layers around your body. And just noticing what you notice. As you connect again to your heart, maybe placing hands on heart center and thanking your body, thanking yourself for guiding you here today. Whenever you're ready, you can return back to the space with open eyes. So, the invitation for you this week is really just recognize when it is you're not speaking for yourself, when you're not speaking your truth, when you're faltering and like backpedaling on things that you believe because it's not aligning with what you're saying or what you think you should be saying. Really just bringing awareness here. Not beating yourself up, not like, judging yourself or judging others, just honestly reflecting and contemplating what it is that you're seeing. And then from there, being willing to choose differently. And trusting that it was that we did today with the sound healing, which if you're just tuning in, you may want to go back and watch the recording of this, that you can connect and heal whatever these disconnections are, so that you can just really live your most authentic life, be your most authentic self, no matter what anyone says or thinks, which I'm telling a lot of people this week. It's like, and myself, you don't have to justify or explain yourself. You got to just be you. If you give a no to someone, you don't have to explain why it's a no. So stop feeling the need to justify or explain yourself, or, expect others to validate you and your truth, because you are the only one that can do that for you. In a way, you're creating your own egregore of you, right? Which is going to be the most important thing, which, I don't know, some people might argue you can't do that because you need a group of people. Everything's just thought form, right? So I definitely encourage you to drink some water, stay hydrated, get some good rest tonight. If you took part in the sound healing, feel free to share with me in the comments if you would like. I will check back at those at some point. If you want to take this work deeper and you feel like you need more support with any of this, there are links in the description which we can connect, different ways we can work together. Because, your time is now. That's what my teachers would say. And there's no better time than the present. Now you have to claim it. Are you going to go do it? Right? And this is about evolution, you becoming yourself. Not because it was never there, but it's like you were tuned into it before and then you kind of like disconnected, because that's what happens as we leave childhood into adulthood. We, think we got to be everything else but ourselves. And then we got to come back to that sense of wholeness, that home that already is in there within us. And it's quite a journey. It's a beautiful thing. I love witnessing people within that like space and that learning. So if that's something that interests you, you can tune into the description. I always want to say thank you to those guides, those ancestors, those beings of the light that were here to support us, those galactic beings. Thank you, Palladians, Lemurians, for your healing, your teachings. To our ancestors and those guides that are walking with us and before us, to the day we are off this planet. We just thank you. May you continue to pave the way. So it is. So thank you all for being here tonight. And look how things just evolved. I had no intention for any of this until literally like 5 minutes before I came live. But this is how life is, and I'm okay with that. So until the next time, everyone, bye.